Education for Sustainable Development, or ESD for short, is defined by UNESCO as an approach to learning and teaching that allows every human being to acquire the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values necessary to shape a sustainable future. They have suggested that ESD should be a key instrument for learning in all forms of education, and that it should be applied to all stages of education and to all ages. So where does this approach come from? Well, first of all, the term sustainable development was coined in the 1987 Brundtland Report, created by the World Commission on Environment and Development. It emphasized that economic development should not compromise the availability of natural resources needed for future generations. This model of sustainable development comprised of three interdependent dimensions: the ecology, the economy, and society. It also led to a UN resolution calling for a decade of education for sustainable development, or DESD, between 2005 and 2014. The overall goal of the DESD was to integrate the principles, values, and practices of sustainable development into all aspects of education and learning worldwide. So, what are pedagogical approaches to ESD? Well, all contemporary approaches to ESD are, at minimum, interdisciplinary, issues-based, and topical. But beyond this sort of general and thin conceptualization, best practices and approaches remain contested. Some argue that transmitting knowledge and appropriate values should be the main focus of ESD. This is known as the instrumental or goal-oriented view of education in ESD. The goal-oriented view of education recognizes the urgency of the global context and the need for behavioral change. It is much more expert-centered and reflects the premise that students must learn about the problems in the world from an expert so that they can make the necessary life choices to mitigate those problems. There is, on the other hand, an intrinsic or learner-centered view of education in ESD that emphasizes peace, social justice, and human flourishing and demands a focus on values and skills education that empowers students to engage in dialogue and problem-solving with others. This learner-centered view emphasizes attention to the learning process and the need for critically aware, reflexive, and autonomous learners as a primary concern. This view rests on the idea that learners should understand sustainability issues through problem-solving and inquiry. However, a third view holds that both of the previous views are complementary rather than oppositional, that these two perspectives together hold the promise and potential of a shift in educational thinking, policy, and practice, which engenders deep and transformative learning on the part of the individual and community. Therefore, ESD is increasingly seen as a transformative learning approach, an adaptive process that not only equips students with new knowledge, but also promotes new ways of thinking. So, how should ESD be integrated into school systems? ESD does not mean adding additional sustainable development content to existing lessons, but developing the contributions of all subjects and stages of education to sustainable development. It should also be understood that ESD is equal to comprehensive understanding of good quality education per se, and that such an education can, nowadays, only be transdisciplinary both in its pedagogical approaches and its content. Education for Sustainable Development encourages teachers to instill a life pedagogy, which recreates the model of the present society and presents a more sustainable civilization project, the social justice and reduction of poverty. It also implies a new idea of curriculum based on meaningful subjects and interdisciplinary proficiency, which contributes to building a feeling of belonging to the planet. ESD should incorporate a cooperative, supportive, dialogic, and democratic learning process, which requires the participation of all members in the planning, execution, and evaluation of education. ESD is an overarching paradigm that guides and transforms the core disciplines, second-tier disciplines, and elective subjects so that they can all contribute to a more sustainable future.